Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about modeling of one-dimensional wave equation, and it is given by delta square u by delta t square equal to 1 upon c square into delta square u by delta x square, where u is nothing but it's a dependent variable which is depending on x and t, and it represents the deflection of a screen at any deflection of the string at any given point x and the time t. So what's the scenario? So scenario is, suppose you are standing at this position, and suppose I am standing over here at this position, and suppose we are holding a string. Okay, so we have tightened one string over here, so we both are holding the string, and now suppose if I do a wiggle over here, so if I do a wiggle over here, so what will form is a wave will be generated. So once I do wiggle, what we get is we get a wave, and this is nothing but the deflection of the string. So what is the deflection over here? So this phenomenon is represented by this mathematical equation. Okay, so this u is nothing but the deflection of the string, and this straight line we will call this straight line as a equilibrium position. We will call this as a equilibrium position. That means there was no movement, and that's what we are going to do in next couple of minutes. Okay, fine. So now we will assume that our string which you and me are holding is a nice string or the nice wire. Nice means what? We will do some assumptions on the screen on the string or the wire. So among them, the first assumption is that our string is uniform or the string is homogeneous. That means what? Its density rho, which is nothing but the mass per unit length, is constant throughout the wire. So we have a uniform wire. Second thing which we are going to assume is the tension caused by stretching the string. The tension caused by stretching the string before fastening at the end, so is so large that the action of the gravitational force can be neglected. That means what? See, I mean the tension on the string is very large. String is very large. So when I am doing this wiggle over here, the waves are generated. See, I mean if the gravitational force is very large as compared to the tension of the screen, then I won't get these waves, because once I do this wiggle, the gravitational force will pull down, and I mean you won't get the wave. So that's why you have sufficient tension on the screen, on the wire or on the string, so that you get a proper waves. So that's what my second assumption says. The tension is so large that you can ignore the gravitational force. The third point is our string is perfectly elastic. That is, it does not offer any resistance to bending. So when I did wiggle over here, easily the string got wiggled and easily the waves were formed. It was not showing any resistance. Like for example, the branch of a tree, if you see, if I pull the branch, it will, I have to put a lot of force, right? And when I leave it, it will straight away go back and it will hit someone who is at the back, or even the rubber band. So I mean they show us the resistance, whereas in this case string is a very nice string, is flexible, and when I do the wiggle I get waves very easily. So that's what it means, that it's perfectly elastic. Or in other words, we can say there are no non-tangential forces. This is another thing. The fourth point is, whenever I am doing this wiggle, the motion is happening only in one plane, which is nothing but my uv plane. So if I call this as my u, and if this is my x, then this is happening in uv plane. It's not like when I'm wiggling, the wire is like coming over here in the z plane or going that side. No, it is happening only in the one plane. So that's what the fourth point says, that the wiggling is happening only in the one plane, which is nothing but my xu plane. Okay, and the fifth point is my vibrations are very small. So vibrations are very small means what? When I am doing this wiggle, or when the wave is formed, like suppose if I take this part of the wave, the vibrations are small, so that if you take this point over here, and when this is vibrating and when this is coming down, so when the waves are formed, this point is only moving up and down, like it's not going very up, because if it goes very up, then this x will not lie exactly above this. So I hope you are getting my point. If this is the string, and if I am doing very big vibrations, the point which is over here in the equilibrium point, because of the big wave, this point will not exactly lie above this. So that's why I won't have very big vibrations. I will have small vibrations, because of which this point which is on equilibrium point, this will lie exactly above this or almost above this. That means what? There are no horizontal movement. So that is one thing, that the vibrations are small. This will force the point to only move in the vertical direction and not the horizontal directions. And the second thing is, since the vibrations are small, therefore when you take the tangents over there, then they remains very small because the deflection is small, so slopes will be small. So these are the 5 things we will assume about our string. Okay, now let's derive the equation. So this was the string which we had. Now you take only the small part of the string. So let me zoom in so that the picture will be clear. So if I take only a small part of the string, so something like this. If this is my x-axis, this was my u-axis. If this is at the distance x, this is at the distance x plus delta x. So this much distance is delta x. This is point P, this is point Q. Okay, so these are the things I have. So this is the part of that string. Okay, now let T1 be the tension at over here, T1, and this is my T2. Okay, so now what will be the horizontal and the vertical component? So suppose this makes the angle alpha. So the horizontal component is T1 cos alpha, and this will be minus T1 sin alpha. Why minus sign? Because I am going in the downward direction. And over here also, if suppose this is the angle beta, then horizontal component will be T2 cos beta, and my vertical will be T2 sin beta. So these are my horizontal and vertical components. Okay, now see, since our vibrations are very small, that's what our assumption was. Since the vibrations are very small, that means there is no horizontal movement of the point. That means what? This sum of the horizontal components will be 0, because since there is no horizontal movement, so the horizontal components, they will be of same magnitude, but they will be in the opposite direction. So whatever I am saying is, when I add them up, T1 cos alpha minus T2 cos beta will be 0. Or another way to say is, the horizontal components are constant, or it's the same. Why? Because the vibrations are small, and for the point x there is no horizontal movement, there is only the vertical movement. So therefore the horizontal components cancels each other. And since these two things are same, so let me denote by some t constant. So that's about the horizontal component. Now let's go about the vertical component. So for that I'll be using Newton's law. So what does the Newton's law says? It says that the resultant force, your resultant force is equal to mass into acceleration. So that's what Newton law says. Now what are the resultant forces? Now since our string or the wire is perfectly elastic, that means there are no non-tangential forces. So only forces left are the vertical forces. So if you take the vertical forces, which was minus T1 sin alpha and T2 sin beta, so these are the only forces left. Horizontal, they cut away, there are no other forces. So what forces we are left with? The vertical forces. So if I add them up, what do I get? I get T2 sin beta minus T1 sin alpha is equal to mass. But what is my mass? Our string is homogeneous, mass is nothing but, so what is rho? It is m upon delta x if I take. So my mass is nothing but rho into delta x into dabba square u by dabba t square. Now see, because of this small vibration, I can take this as delta x, right? See, what is delta x? It is the distance of this point, this part of the string. This is delta x. See, if I do a very long or the very big vibrations, or whenever the displacement is very big, this length need not be same as this length. So if I want to find the length of this curve or this arc, I need to use the arc length formula, and then the integration and all these things will come into picture. But if I want to avoid all these things, I am assuming that the vibrations are small, so therefore this is not going very far, so they are near only. So this length is almost same as this length, and that's why this length I am calling it as delta x only, because of the small vibrations there is not much change in the length. Okay, so now this is the equation I have. Now if I divide by t on both sides, if I divide by t, this is what I have. And now t is what? it can be both, right? It's the same thing. So for this t, let me replace by t2 cos beta. So t2 sin beta upon t2 cos beta minus t1 sin alpha upon t1 cos alpha is equal to rho delta x upon t utt. Okay, so what is this? This is tan beta. This is what? This is tan alpha. This is nothing but delta x rho by t into utt. Now what is my tan alpha and tan beta? So tan alpha and tan beta are nothing but they are the slopes, right? They are nothing but the slopes of the string at P and Q point. So tan alpha and tan beta are nothing but they are the slopes of the string at, you can say, at x and x plus delta x. So since it's a slope, so therefore this is nothing but del by u by del by x, and this is del by u by del by y, x only. But this was at the point, which point? It was at the point x, and this was at the point x plus delta x, right? And this is equal to delta x rho by t into utt. So once I have this, you simply divide by delta x. If I take delta x down, what do I get? I get del by u by del by x at x plus delta x minus del by u by del by x at x whole divided by delta x equal to rho upon t utt. And now as my delta x goes to 0, this is nothing but del by square u by del by x square. This is nothing but rho by t into del by square u by del by t square. You call your rho upon t is nothing but c square, and therefore you get the wave equation. Why I'm instead of c, why I'm calling c square? So I mean, just to see, if I only write c, then I mean this can't be negative, this is always positive. So if I write this c and if I say c belongs to r, then I mean it becomes negative also, which is not the case. Then it will not represent this wave equation. So just to stress that this coefficient is positive, I am denoting rho upon t by c square and not by c. So this is how you model a wave equation, provided our string or a wire is a very nice wire. That means it follows those previous 5 assumptions. So I hope this is clear. Let me know if you have any concerns.